If you do OFM, then you're probably already aware that GetAllMyLinks has been banned from Instagram. Indeed, a few days ago, the multi-link platform GetAllMyLinks, which most models today were using, both in the French-speaking market and internationally, was banned. So following that, they changed their domain name, but 2 days later, it happened again. So now, what do? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly the alternative I started using, which I actually find even better than GetAllMyLinks. You might ask me why not use Linktree? Simply because with Linktree, you actually don't get a direct link. That is to say, for example, to redirect our Instagram traffic to OnlyFans, we're forced to have an intermediate page, a web page. And that actually adds a lot of friction, especially for Instagram followers. In fact, with Linktree, you'll be required to have a landing page, meaning an intermediate web page, for example, between Instagram and OnlyFans. And this actually has its advantages, but also its drawbacks. The advantage is that if you ever redirect to another platform than OnlyFans, with, for example, a meme, which I actually don't recommend, I would always advise having just one platform, it's really better for the client. Or, for example, if you're sending people not only to OFF but also to Telegram, then yes, that could be of some interest. But again, these days, I don't even recommend having a Telegram anymore, because to me, it's actually a bit of a distraction platform. In other words, it can make us lose focus a little, because for me, it's not really essential. And I really like, especially in fitness, to always focus on what's truly essential and what really brings results. And that's why I don't necessarily recommend it. But the downside is that it actually creates quite a bit of friction for the client. And in fact, it adds an extra step in the sales funnel. So that's the reason, actually. The idea is really to have a platform with a direct link that takes people straight from Instagram to OF. And there you go. If on top of that, we can have a link that's more or less similar to GetAllMyLinks, because users were used to GetAllMyLinks. If we can have a link that's somewhat similar, that's even better, because obviously I've seen quite a few alternative sites like that, multi-link platforms or direct links. And the thing is, very often, even if the link is short, which is actually a good thing, it still looks a bit fake. And since we don't know it, it doesn't inspire confidence, so the result is going to convert a little less well. So that's why I found the perfect platform that simply combines direct links with a price that's much lower than GetAllMyLinks, and on top of that, a link that's quite similar to GetAllMyLinks. So as a result, it will seem pretty familiar to Instagram users. Alright, so here we are directly on the website, which is Linkscale. Linkscale, as you'll see, is a really great platform. So that's what I've been using ever since GetAllMyLinks got banned. Because with GetAllMyLinks, you could actually use your own custom domain names. Except, well, I find it a bit complicated. And honestly, when you have a lot of models, a lot of Instagram accounts, and therefore quite a few links, it gets pretty complicated. That's why I really preferred a fairly simple platform, kind of old school, a bit like GetAllMyLinks used to be, where in the end, you don't have a domain name specific to your model. Especially since now, links in bio are pretty well known. So, I mean, there's really no need to have a link or a domain name in the model's name. So there you have it. By the way, for those who would like to use Linkscale, you'll find the link. It's an affiliate link, of course, under the description of this video. I really encourage you to use this platform. Why? Because I've tested it, and honestly, for me, it's the best for all the reasons I'm going to share with you in this video. So as you can see, here we are on the sales page. What's great is that you can create optimized landing pages if you want. There's also direct linking, and it comes with a shield as well. If I remember correctly, what is the shield? It will simply redirect bots to another platform, or at least to another page instead of the OnlyFans page. This is really good for avoiding warnings or even getting banned, etc. from social networks. That's actually a very good point. And if you want, you can still set up dedicated domains. You can choose from several optimized domain names. By the way, what's really nice is that we have a choice. It's not like before, for example, on GetAllMyLinks, where you just had GetAllMyLinks with the username. Now, as you'll see, we have different domain names. If you want to choose, I'll also tell you which one I think is the best and the one that most closely resembles the old one. So that's the one I recommend. As you can see, it's pretty cool. Now, let's talk about the pricing. What's nice is that there are different plans available. There's even a free plan, and then plans at 9, 39, and 69. Personally, today I used the 39 plan. Why? Because I need a lot of links, a little less than 50, but that's actually pretty good, because before on GetAllMyLinks for about 25 links, I was paying around 50 per month, and now for 39 per month, I get double that 50 more links. Each one has its own little protection. That's what they call the shield. That's pretty cool. Overall, as for the other features, honestly, we won't really need them. But in any case, for me, that's really where it gets interesting. And so if you ever only need 3 links, you can use the essential pack. The thing is, I think we actually need a lot more links, considering that if you have just one model and 3 Instagram accounts, 3 Threads accounts, it's still useful to create a tracking link on OnlyFans for each Instagram account and therefore each Threads account, which would mean we'd have 6 tracking links and therefore 6 Linkscale links. That's really what I recommend to you, because it allows you to get the best possible data and to track things precisely. I know that this account gets stats, but still, it's strange, it doesn't convert. Whereas you might think it would convert 100%, but that's not necessarily the case. Similarly, maybe on another account, we have a bit of traffic, but a lot of interactions, for example, on Instagram. And so we convert and it actually brings more people to OF than the other account, which, let's say, gets a bit more views. So that's why it's always really important to have the right data. And above all, what's great is that we actually have statistics that are quite detailed, quite advanced, and that's available right from the essential pack. For those of you who really have an agency with even more models or more links, don't hesitate to use the agency pack. That's really not bad for those who will even need it. Why not without a link? Here it's really a high level of tracking or a lot of models, but in any case it's really quite good. You also have the annual plan. That will obviously be cheaper. You'll even get 2 months free. That's it, quite simply, you'll save 17%. So don't hesitate, because as you know, if you really have the ambition to create a real agency in the long term, well, links like this, like Linkscale, are actually what you'll end up using from A to Z when you have models. So actually, if you plan on doing EFM for 2 or 3 years, it might be worth getting an annual package, because you'll be using it all the time. So really, I even recommend using it not just for Instagram, but also, for example, for Twitter or even Thread and so on. Don't hesitate in any case, and at the very least, it really allows you to centralize all your links on a single platform, and that's honestly what I recommend. So to find this tool, Linkscale, I suggest you click on the link that will be in the description. Why? Simply because if you type, for example, Linkscale on Google or search for multi-link platform, you'll come across a huge number of competitors that I haven't tested and haven't been able to check. So really what I recommend to you is this one, because I use it myself in my agency, with which we make a little over 30,000, even 40,000 in revenue per month. So I can tell you, I've tested it quite a lot, and honestly, for me, it's the best, and it absolutely meets all my criteria. Okay, so now here we are on my dashboard, all right, on my own Linkscale account. So as you can see here, this is for the past week, all right? So over the past week, as you can see, we had about 6,500 users who clicked on the link. And also we can see that we blocked 302 bots. So it's actually really interesting to know that. I didn't think there would be that many. Here we also have details for all the links. So of course, as you can imagine, I'm gonna blur out the links to my models a bit, because I wouldn't want, well, for someone to copy all my OnlyFans bios, obviously, as you can imagine. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. You can even filter by country as well. So yeah, that's pretty cool. We actually have quite a lot of analytics, and you can really compare each link. We even have the protection rate as well. So here we're at 3.4%. Honestly, I don't really know exactly what that corresponds to, but hey, it's still something, and it helps us prevent bots from landing on our link. And well, if they're bots, networks, etc., it would actually help us avoid either getting banned or shadow banned, whatever the case may be. So there you go. Sometimes things like that can happen. So at least it's an extra layer of security. And so there you have it. As we can see, we also have, well, the countries. We can see a bit of the percentage, specifically the distribution of our users who ultimately clicked on the link, based on the country, and also the social networks. So as we can see, for us, almost everything comes from Instagram, honestly. That's really our main focus. So here, 95% come from Instagram. That's pretty cool. We have quite a lot of data, as I mentioned. And there you have it. And then we have the popular links, meaning the ones that perform the best. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Now we're going to look at the links. In the links section here, we'll have all our links. We can even create categories, actually. That's exactly what I did for each of my models. I created a category, and so when I click on a model, I have all the links for that model. So I have a link for the model, a link for myself, for my partners, and so on. It's pretty cool. If tomorrow we hire VAs, same thing, we can create a link for them here. So yeah, the interface is pretty good, interesting, and quite easy to use. To create a folder, you just click on plus. Next, you enter the name of the folder. For example, I'll just call it Melvin. There we go. And now we just click create. So now there it is. We have the Melvin folder. If I click on it, obviously there are no links yet. Now I can go ahead and create my first link. So for that, I tap here, and then we end up here. Now I can even add a note and so on. For example, Melvin link, whatever, like YouTube, whatever, it doesn't matter. Next, you have the choice between a landing page, which I don't necessarily recommend, because in my opinion, what works best these days is really redirecting, for example, from Instagram to OF or from Thread to OF. So for that, I'm really going to recommend the direct link. For those who still want to use a landing page, in that case, I'll let you go and explore the landing page a bit on your own. Honestly, I don't need it, so I didn't do it. And honestly, it's not really what I recommend. So we're just going to focus on the direct link. So here, for example, we have the link with the OFMUSA domain name. As you can see, it's really close to GetAllMyLinks. And for me, well, that's good because it's actually quite familiar for Instagram users. So here we simply put the name. If, for example, the model is named Angel, then we'll write Angel. For example, one for me. If, for instance, the model has an account, Angel2. Anyway, you get the idea. Landing page. Well, it's simple. We'll just go to info. In fact, I'll show you live. Here we go. So let's launch info. By the way, I'll also show you some of the results we have in my agency, since we're here anyway. So right now it's absolutely July 6th, 9:17 a.m. There we go. So today we're already at exactly $500. And for the month, we're a bit over, well, almost 10,000. So a little more than $9,925. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And so concretely for link tracking, we go to growth. Then we go to tracking links. Okay, so here, for example, I'll take this template, then go ahead and create a link. So for that here, you write the name. So for example, if you have a VA, okay, a virtual assistant who brings in traffic from their Instagram accounts, let's say, I don't know, Robert. So you write VA robot, for example. And then for the source, you can write the platform. So Instagram, for example, and then you click create. Next, you'll get a link. You just click copy link, whatever. And then you actually paste it into the landing page. So that's our tracking link. That way, we'll know exactly, okay, this VA, so Norbert or Robert, actually brought in traffic through their Linkscale tracking link and then to OF. And we'll know exactly how much traffic they brought in, etc. So it's really, really interesting. I really recommend you use this. And you can even tweak the preview a little bit. So for example, you can write the model's name. I don't know, you can write join me here. Anyway, whatever. There you go. And then you can even activate the shield protection, which will redirect bots to a secure page. So that's exactly what I recommend you do. Next, we actually have different domain names. So once again, I recommend OFMUSA because, well, at least it's pretty familiar, right? Compared to GetAllMyLinks or maybe BuyAllMyLinks or MeAllMyLinks. But in that case, you'll need a creator pack. But anyway, don't hesitate if you ever want to use, for example, the domain name MeAllMyLinks or BuyAllMyLinks. In that case, you'll need the creator pack. But at least that might help you stand out a little from MyAllMyLinks. But honestly, I don't think the goal is really to stand out. I think the goal is really to have a link that's fairly universal and therefore reassures your audience, right? And I think that's really the most important thing. Okay, now that that's been said, next we'll have this little setting here. So here we have the logic of deep links. So actually, this will just explain to us a bit how it works. And we can also configure how our links behave on different platforms. Well, honestly, I haven't really checked that. I don't think it's super useful. Here we have the landing page. So here are some examples of what you might get. You see, it's pretty cool. Honestly, it's really good actually. It's kind of, I even think it's better than anything like Bitcoin. It's Linktree. So even for those who really want to send people to multiple links, honestly, I think it's still worth going with Linkers because the design is actually quite nice and even better in my opinion. You can also filter based on countries. So that's pretty interesting. You press here, then you click and select a country. For example, if I don't want people from Australia to see my link, I just set a destination with a page URL. So it will redirect them to another page. Personally, I don't use it. So there you go. Since my models are on the French market, I don't need to hide from other countries. But still, it can be a good way to do things. If you happen to be targeting a country you don't really like and you'd prefer to have fewer subscribers from that country, well, this can be a good way to go about it. Also, they do say that our Instagram accounts really target the chosen country. That's really the best. And well, that's it. Next, if you even want to add a Facebook pixel, honestly, that's really advanced stuff and it's not necessarily needed in OFM. So there you go, that's regarding Facebook. So that's a bit about the platform. There on the left, we have quite a few features. So, well, personally, I haven't really used all of them. Here we have the domains. So if you ever want to buy domains, like I mentioned, domains that are really specifically tailored to the model. We also have templates. We also have, well, obviously I haven't used any. We also have statistics. Okay, so when it comes to statistics, it's pretty cool. As I showed you a bit at the beginning, we really get an overview of each of our links so we know exactly which link is bringing in what amount of traffic. And I find it quite visual. And then we also have quite a few settings. Here are the account settings, for example. We also have, well, the number of links we've used. So here I've used 21. All right. So here, for example, it's cool because I can still onboard quite a few models knowing that, well, actually, we haven't made a lot of Instagram accounts per model. So in the end, we just have one link per Instagram per model. But since we still have quite a few models, and let's say for each model we have about 3 or 4 Instagrams, that means we still have quite a lot of room left. So honestly, with 50, you can do a lot. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Same thing as for template and domain, I haven't used them. Honestly, I really focus on the essentials. What I wanted from this platform was really to be able to use links, basically for direct link redirection, kind of like GetAllMyLinks back in the day, or when it still worked on Instagram. So at least here, we can be sure there won't be any issues with this platform. So there you go. Don't hesitate to use it if you want to create an account and use it. You'll find my affiliate link right in the description. So I encourage you to use that link as a way of saying thanks for this video where I explained the whole software to you. In any case, I hope this will help you. It should really guide those of you who weren't sure which platform to use. Now that we've covered all that, I'd like to tell you one last thing. For those who would like to learn how to generate $300 a day with OFM within the next 90 days, as you saw, today is July 6th and we are almost at $10,000 in revenue with my OnlyFans agency. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you how to do. So $300 a day specifically over the next 90 days, okay? So through my program, I have a course or a coaching program with training and both will be available. It's my OFM Pro Strategy program. You can find it directly in the description of this video. Don't hesitate if you're interested. In any case, if you enjoyed this video and it helped you, feel free to like it, leave a comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Alright, bye!